When I posted my last devlog, the game looked like this. And now, it looks a bit more like this. Before I get into the nitty gritty, there's some things I need to clarify that have changed since the last devlog that I just need to get out of the way so that everything makes more sense. The first thing is that I was placing a lot of emphasis onto the game being a stealth game, but after some consideration and some advice from my uni lecturers, I just realised it's way too unrealistic to try and do that in the period of time I have to make it, since stealth is such a complex system to get working. I need to focus on the simpler elements that will still make a fun game. So the experience of the game will be more of an action focus than a non-linear play how you want kind of thing. This epiphany dawned on me when I got and played through Doom Eternal, and I realised that you can have a lot of fun in an action game without turning your brain off if you design it in the right way. And before, I felt that a lot of action games are quite, they put you into quite a passive mindset, and it kind of just all blends into each other if it doesn't challenge you enough. That was a big realisation that made me realise, I could actually make a fun action game without all these different play styles needing to be accounted for. But yeah, I'll get further into it. I'm beating around the bush a bit. Basically, I am making a kind of first-person brawler with high emphasis on knocking back enemies, kind of toying with them, trying to manage them properly. I want to place a lot of emphasis on your positioning, environmental kills, and kind of more slapstick kind of features, leaning into the goofier side of it and not taking it too seriously. Luckily, at the point I made the devlog, I was at a really convenient crossroads where the AI was just intelligent enough where I didn't have to work on it anymore, and also it was just stupid enough that I didn't have to cut any stealth elements off of it or subtract any gameplay from that current state. Since I've taken away a lot of the complexity of the game, the development's got a lot smoother. It feels a lot more achievable now. I'll go through how combat works at the moment. So essentially, what I've added in a finite state machine into the combat system. So first of all, you've got your idle and your mid-air states, which kind of allow the me to code whether an attack, or it allows me to code different attacks depending on whether they're idle or in the air. So I can, there's more flexibility and strategy in how you move. So right now I've got a normal attack on the ground that does not much knockback, but a bit more damage. And then I've also got a mid-air attack, which I kind of want to be more of a ground pound, but right now it doesn't work like that, and is more of just like a overhead swipe that does a lot of knockback, so you can make enemies fly off the map, but not much damage, so it's not actually an option if you just want to. It's more of a zoning kind of tool. I've also added in a block, but there's not much. It's not very apparent that you're blocking, apart from the fact that you won't take damage when enemies attack. So I need to add in animations for that. I need to redo all the animations. They're not very good. Another thing I want to add in for the progression is the concept of these idols. So they'll act a bit like if you've played Hotline Miami and the masks that you choose at the start of each level. They'll work a bit like that. They'll give you an ability depending on which one you picked. These ones are a bit more religiously themed. They're like statues that you take at the end of each level. So with each level you'll get rewarded with the idol at the end, and then in the next level you can choose between the ones you've already got to give you different abilities and move and attack options. So eventually you'll be able to choose which ones you like most and align your playstyle around that. I will also say that right now the gameplay doesn't have any depth, and I have done a playtest with a few of my mates just to get some feedback, and yeah, I need further feedback for how the game plays, so at some point I'll release a playtest. I'll probably put it on the YouTube posts thing, hopefully get some feedback. There'll be a Google form. It will be able to download off itch for probably Mac and Windows, so I'll let you know when that happens, probably in the next few days. I want to add in a parry mechanic, I'm not sure how to do that. The block needs work. The main attack's fine. I want to differentiate the attacks a bit more sound, more feedback. So for the art, I've added in quite a few of the assets that I've designed. However, a lot of the art I've been doing is more in the background. I'll put some of the kind of concept sketches up. It's leaning a lot more into the Mesoamerican aesthetic than I think I've realised. I just felt that it fit for the vibe. I quite like that. My lecturers seem to like that as well. The character you play as is kind of like a Frank Frazetta-y kind of demigod kind of character. I haven't fleshed out any of the lore. It's all just visuals at the moment, and I'm hoping I can kind of weave the lore in between what I've done visually. So you could criticise that in terms of how to approach narrative, but I'm not thinking about the narrative as much for this game. I do play some games for the narrative, but it's usually not the priority for me. Games are better for good narratives, but I want to focus on making a fun game first and foremost, because that is very challenging. Whereas I've done narratives before, not that they're anything special, but that isn't the focus for this game, as you can probably see by the gameplay. One of the most difficult things for me in this development kind of process has been making the music match what the gameplay is. So I've been kind of dabbling with Ableton for a few months, and I've been making a few tracks trying to fit the vibe of the game, kind of mystical, kind of world music, quite ethereal, but also can get intense when it needs to be. And I'll show off some of what I'm working on, but my main issue is that with making a song, I can only get so far in before I just get block. So my cap is usually I'll add in a melody, a bass line, and some percussion, and I can't figure out how to switch up and structure it differently, so each song ends up becoming this kind of monotonous just series of loops instead of an actual structured song. So I'll show off these now. I'd like to get some feedback on not only everything for this, but I want to hear about the music, because I don't really show my music off much, but and I'm no expert. I'm not like a music guy. It's just something. It's like an actual hobby instead of something I'm working on for professional reasons, like my kind of illustration and game stuff. Which, don't get me wrong, is still really fun, but it's something I'm taking a bit more seriously because I can actually see myself using it as a career. Fingers crossed. That's pretty much everything important I've got to show off, so if you've got all the way to this part of the video, I'd appreciate a subscribe, leave a comment if you've got any kind of thoughts you want to express about it. If there's stuff you dislike, that would be very appreciated if you post that. And comment your thoughts. I need some kind of back and forth, because this is all very much my singular idea. I need some outside opinions to kind of ground it.